Members, please take your seats. Thank you and welcome to the meeting 3 of the Senate Standing Committee on Economic Development, Tourism, and Labor. I would remind you to please silence your cell phones. And if you could, Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll.
Senator Boswell. Senator Gardler. Senator Howe. Senator Maiden.
Here.
Senator Nunn.
Here.
Senator Thomas. Senator Wilson.
Here.
Senator Wise.
Here.
Senator Yates.
Present.
Vice Chair Funky Firmeyer.
Present.
Chair Willard.
Present. Okay. We're going to go just a little bit out of order, but we'll begin with, I believe, Senator Mills, who's here on Senate Bill 129. And it appears we have a committee substitute. If I could have a motion on the committee substitute, please. All right. All those in favor say aye. 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 All right. Committee substitute is adopted. Senator Mills, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just consulted with your son and explained the bill, and he said he was good with it. So, no. Now, this is. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm pinch hitting for Senator Adams, who's out of town, but this is an important bill that actually came out of our housing task force. There's a couple on there that on this committee that know what we're talking about here related to blighted property. We've done some work in General Assembly over the last couple of years of trying to get blighted property off, not to be blighted, and put it back on the tax rolls. So this is another a step in doing this. Several years ago, the General Assembly allowed consolidated governments to protect certain properties with delinquent tax actions. This delinquent diversion program has a substantial number of blighted properties in it, especially in the west side of Louisville. Senate Bill 129 provides a mechanism for qualified third-party purchasers to purchase certificates of delinquency on vacant and abandoned residential properties 90 days after that certificate is created. To be qualified as a diverted tax delinquent purchaser, the third-party purchaser must register with the Department of Revenue and be a political subdivision of the Commonwealth within Louisville Metro and operating there. It needs to be a state or local agency, board, or commission operating within Louisville Metro, a quasi-governmental entity created by or operating in Louisville Metro, and a nonprofit organization registered with the Secretary of State for at least 5 years. The Department of Revenue must maintain a list of these entities granted a certificate of registration and must promulgate regulation to establish procedures for purchase and sale of these certificates of delinquency. And of course, the entities purchasing the certificates of delinquency under the program are subject to the same requirements as other third-party purchasers in terms of collections, foreclosures to protect property owners. Mr. Chairman, this is just another small way that we can get properties back functioning in our largest state in the Commonwealth and get affordable housing to those folks. So if there aren't any questions or comments, I'd move for passage.
Senator Yates has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, thank you for being here with us.
Yep.
Got the pleasure of sitting on the task force, and appreciate Senator Rocky Adams for bringing this forward. Part of the task force is we got all kinds of solutions we need to be moving forward on, and this is just another tool in the toolbox. And having served on the Metro Council for 10 years and 2 terms as president of the council, what we have right now is not fully working. And so I'd urge everyone to vote yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Is that a motion, Senator Yates?
I'll make a motion.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Boswell.
Yes, this is a very good bill. I'm for it. I think, though, that we do have to be careful because I know of some situations where there was a widow or someone who went through this process and they only ended up owing $300 or $400 in taxes, but by the time they got through with them, they owe like $5,000. So that's a concern that we just need to keep in our minds going forward.
Is Is that an aye vote?
That's an aye.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Senator Funky Farmeyer. Aye. Senator Gardler.
Aye.
Senator Howell. Senator Maiden. Senator Nunn. Senator Thomas. Oh, okay. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise. Senator Yates. Chair Wheeler.
I vote aye. I would like to echo the comments of Senator Boswell. We do need to make sure that our elderly and those with disabilities are taken care of, but I do believe this is a necessary tool to make sure that there's economic development prospects in certain areas of the state. So thank you, Senator Mills.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
All right, I'm going to let Senator Nemus go next with Senate Bill 178. If you could identify yourselves for the record, Senator Nemus, and your guests that you have appearing with you.
I'm Senator Nemus from District 38, Bullock County and Southern Jefferson County.
My name is Leslie Tyndall. I am the HR Executive for the Education and Labor Cabinet.
My name is Jake Fouts. I'm the Assistant Director of Fiscal Management for Education and Labor Cabinet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This is needed because of something the legislature did. We moved a department or an office, I forget which, out of CHFS into the Labor Cabinet, and we didn't follow through with the statutory things. The whole department has moved, so we're putting it in statute. It's Division of Program Policy Support, Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. That's the main thing this does. The second thing it does is they have a division of used to be business and apprenticeship. They're changing the name to industry and apprenticeship just because they want to and think it sounds better. And they're moving making it where there's a division of apprentice department, or what is it underneath there? Apprenticeship under it, and workforce. What's the name of it? It's a division for workforce talent under it, which should be there. They were going to add another part that is going to be crossed out on page 3. Line 25, and we didn't have time to do a committee substitute, so there will be a floor amendment to do that, and that's all it does. They are already doing this work. The money is already moved, and the employees from the CHFS to the Labor Cabinet.
Do I have a motion? All right, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Funky Farmeyer. Aye. Senator Gardler. Aye. Senator Howell. Aye. Senator Maiden. Aye. Senator Nunn. Aye. Senator Thomas. Senator Wilson. Aye. Senator Wise. Aye. Senator Yates. Aye. Chair Wheeler.
Aye. Thank you, Senator Nemus, and thank you, guests.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members.
I'm going to go on down there, and I will let Senator... Next two bills are mine. I'm going to let my vice chair, Senator Funky Fromeyer, assume the chair.
Well, unless there's a committee sub in there. And if he doesn't, that might be it. Thank you, Senator Wheeler. It looks like you'll present to us Senate Bill 151 first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Senate Bill 151 is a very simple bill. It's a one-pager. It simply says that those who are legally present in the United States of America shall not be the recipient of tax dollars appropriated by the General Assembly. I think that as we've seen over the last 4 years, illegal immigration has been a very significant problem that was exacerbated by the prior administration. We have received multiple reports I have from my friends in the labor unions and other things of large crews of undocumented workers that are working on drywall capacities and other things on state projects. And that is just inappropriate behavior, and we don't need Kentucky tax dollars paid by Kentucky citizens going to people, illegal aliens in the United States of America, and that's what Senate Bill 151 does.
Yes, so we have a question for you, Senator Wheeler.
Hey, Senator, thank you. Just flipping through, is there any evidence right now that Kentucky tax dollars are being paid? And I'm trying to figure out the mechanism which that would happen, that if as cause doing through contracts and through appropriations, how there would be ever any evidence that Kentucky tax dollars were paid directly to illegal immigrants.
Well, I think that what we would do, that's why we've charged the Homeland Security Office with investigating these state job sites and places where tax dollars are being spent to make sure that illegal aliens are not working on these job sites and that our tax dollars are being paid to Kentuckians.
So if I may, so this bill would prohibit, I'm just trying to figure out what this does that is not already in place. Would this prohibit making sure that it didn't get paid to a corporation that then in fact hires illegal immigrants, or is this just making sure that illegal immigrants can't contract directly with Kentucky?
I think it would prohibit both, Senator Yates.
Senator Wise. Sasha, would you please call the roll?
Senator Boswell. Senator Funky Fromeyer.
Aye.
Senator Gardler. Senator Howe.
Explain my vote, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I want to vote aye and just thank you for bringing this and being proactive on an issue so when things do arise, we have mechanisms in place to prevent this.
Senator Maiden. Senator Nunn. Senator Thomas. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise. Senator Yates.
Senator, first of all, I don't really have a problem with the premise at all on there. My worry is that I don't want to vote to get rid of something as a way to send a message that something's happening that's not. And so I wanted to dive down into, because I think that obviously there are probably people who are illegal citizens and will be getting payments, but I don't know of a way, and I'll dive into it. Maybe me and you can go through it, but way through government contracts, whether it's through contracts, through appropriations, through the portal, or anything that they've actually received funds. And I'm okay with looking into that thing, but as of now, I'm going to vote no, just to give myself the time to look through it. And then maybe if you got some time, we can go through it together and look at it. I know you've always been a good colleague and been fair to do that.
The same, sir.
Thank you, Senator Yates.
Chair
And
Wheeler.
we do have we do have Senator Thomas that just arrived and wanted to give you an opportunity. We're visiting on Senate Bill 151, and we did have a motion and a second, so we are currently voting on it.
Okay, is this Senate Bill 151?
It is, Senate Bill 151.
The third bill we picking up?
Yes,
Okay, well, before you adjourn, I missed 2 votes. I want
Yes.
to go back and put those on the record as well.
that sounds good. We'll trust.
With respect to Senate Bill 178, that's where we're at, 178?
No, we're on 151.
151.
To finish out the roll call vote.
Yeah, we'll finish out the roll call.
Okay, all right then.
Chair Wheeler.
I vote aye.
Now, Senator Thomas.
Okay. In deference to my colleague, Senator Yates, I've not read this bill. Well, I say I read it. I kind of glanced over it. I've not done the deep dive that my colleague, Senator Yates, has said. So in deference to him, if he has some reservations about it, I'm going to vote no at the present time, and hopefully whatever his concerns are can be worked out and resolved, and we can move forward.
Okay.
Do you want to allow him to record his votes for the prior 2
Okay,
bills?
so Senate Bill 151 passes with favorable expression, and that same should pass. So Senator Thomas, would you like to register your vote on Senate Bill 129 and Senate Bill 178?
Yes, on Senate Bill 129, I did read that. That's the only one in this bill I did read thoroughly. I think that's an excellent bill. It's great for cities like Lexington and Louisville and Covington as well, because we do have a lot of property that's in disrepair, that's abandoned, and it's a great way for cities to collect those delinquency certificates, acquire that property, and then revitalize that property for the good of the community. And so I definitely vote aye on Senate Bill 29. Also vote aye on Senate Bill 178.
Thank you, Senator Thomas. Senator Wheeler, would you like to present Senate Bill 201? And
Thank
if you have guests?
No, just me. Thank you, Madam Chair. As many on this committee know, I'm a practicing attorney. I've practiced workers' compensation law for the past 20 years. I actually previously served on the Workers' Compensation Nominating Committee under the appoints the administrative law judges and board members under Governor Fletcher and the first Governor Beshear. What Senate Bill 201 aims to do is to rectify a problem that was recently brought to me by some members of the commission. The last time we had a vacancy for a workers' compensation administrative law judge, the statute requires that position to be advertised, and then they take applications, and then those applications are considered and voted upon by the nominating committee. 3 names are then presented to the governor, and the governor picks one of those names. They immediately assume that position and begin to practice, but they are also subject to confirmation by the Senate. Due to some perceived strains between the executive branch and the legislative branch, for the last administrative law judge position, which, by the way, pays almost $160,000 a year, they only received 2 applications. And actually, somebody had to, from the Labor Cabinet, actually threw in an application to meet the statutory minimum. Now, back when I was on the nominating committee, we would receive 20 or 30 applications for each position from qualified people. And now there seems to be a hesitancy to apply for these positions because they're afraid if they take the position and they shut down their law practice or leave their job, then perhaps they won't be confirmed by the Senate, and therefore they are jobless, have a closed law practice, have a major disruption in their lives. In addition, there's always kind of been a hole in the statute whereby several of these workers' compensation judges would come up on December 1st, right before the exiting governor left office, would be filled by that exiting governor. A new governor would come into office, and then the legislature would vote, or the Senate would vote on those confirmations. That has led to many people losing a job through the year, and it creates some tensions there. So what this bill aims to do is to close that loophole and to also provide more stability for the system. What it does, it extends the terms out of the current ALJs through June 1st of next year, the ones not currently pending Senate confirmation. And what it says is that instead of taking that position immediately, and again, this is only newly appointed ALJs. If the ALJ is currently in office and being retained, they will continue to work just doing their job every day. But for newly appointed ALJs, you will not take office until the Senate confirms you. Now, there is an exception in cases of death or disability. Then obviously the governor in that case can immediately fill that position. But instead, if you are a newly appointed ALJ, then you will go through the Senate process. If you are confirmed, then you will take office on June 1st of that year, which gives you either somewhere between 45 and 60 days to wrap up your practice and assume office. If you are not confirmed, then obviously you just continue working your day job. So again, this bill is simply meant to close a loophole in the statute and hopefully attract more people into these jobs, since they won't have to actually give up their livelihood or risk their livelihood in order to take this position. Another small change is that in the statute, the Workers' Compensation Nominating Committee, when an administrative law judge's term is up for renewal, can actually take a vote on whether or not that judge should be retained. Instead, and if that retention vote is had, then the governor either elects to retain or rejects that recommendation. That has been a little bit different with the workers' compensation board members. The board members have always had to reapply every single time. So what it does is it simply makes a sitting board member eligible for a retention vote by the nominating committee, just like an administrative law judge. So they can vote to retain the board member, and if the governor agrees with that, they can retain that board member. If that board member is rejected, then, they would advertise it. So it's really a cleanup bill that provides some more stability for the system and hopefully gets more qualified applicants to put themselves out for these positions.
Make the motion on the bill.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion or questions?
Thank you, Senator Whittle. I think this is a good bill, but I do have a question. So some of these jobs, based on your testimony, they don't have a lot of cash cases, it sounds like. But yet, so with the bill that we're passing today, how will that affect the pay rate of these individuals? Because as we know, sometimes in government, we get too many people in these positions. So I'm just wondering, if we pass a bill, how will it affect the pay rate of these people that are currently judged? Will it reduce it because they're not working as many hours?
Senator Boswell, that this bill really doesn't have anything to do with that. In fact, in order for a administrative law judge to be filled, there has to be a certification of need by the commissioner. So the commissioner reviews the caseload of it. The commissioner reviews the caseload of every judge, decides whether there's a need for that position. I think currently, I can't remember the exact number, but I'm thinking there are 16 law judges authorized by statute. We can have fewer. You can't have any more than that unless authorized by the General Assembly. But again, the Commissioner of the Department of Workers' Claims reviews the caseloads and can make a recommendation as to whether or not that seat is necessary to be filled. But the salary itself is actually set by statute. It's the same as a circuit judge in the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you. Thank you. We do have a motion. We do have a second. Sasha, would you call the roll?
Senator Boswell. Senator Funky Firmeyer.
Aye.
Senator Gardler.
I'd like to explain my yes vote. I hear you attorneys claim that you all are practicing and still practicing. When you all going to get it right? Thank you.
I don't know if that'll ever happen, Senator.
Senator Howe. Senator Maiden. Senator Nunn. Senator Thomas. Senator Wilson. Senator Wise. Senator Yates. Chair Wheeler.
Aye.
Senate Bill 201 passes with favorable expression. That should also pass.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Wheeler. And on that, I believe, is there any other business